Hey, today, rapid fire. Okay, this is Jeremy, founder of QuickMail.io.
Hey, this is Jack from salesbread.com. Rapid fire
Sponsored by
sponsors, Quick Mail, Auto Warmer, SalesBread lead a day. Check us
Okay.
out. Now let's go for it. Question 1, what's the minimum open rate I should aim for?
20. Under that, you're in the spam. 40, but honestly 60. Aim for 60.
Right. Okay, 60, done. Next question. Does cold outreach become easier with all those spam filters in place, preventing spammers? I think
You
yes.
wished? Yeah, but still, there are other problems, but yeah, sure. Is that becoming
other
better,
problems?
easier? Like now we have to deal with
No.
deliverability. I didn't have before.
Yeah. So it isn't what it was in 2017, where you could pretty much easily get double digits or 25 and beyond % reply rates. Now, what do we say? If you're in the double digits, you're doing better than most. You want to be between 15 and 20 to be really excelling. 10 and 15 is still solid these days.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Nailed it.
Okay.
Next question. Should we consider hiring a consultant for deliverability these days? As one of those consultants that companies pay money to help fix their deliverability, I'm going to say, yeah. I'm going to say that's a good idea.
I hear that more and more actually, or user at QuickMail do ask a lot more. Well, I hear, from hearsay or from support, like people are working more and more with deliverability experts these days. It's kind of, yeah.
Yep. Speaking of which, we've got the deliverability module in course.quickmail.io. It's a very good resource. If you don't want to pony up all that money for a deliverability consult, just start there.
That's right.
Yep. Okay.
We won't promise you a decaf mocha latte with the course, but should be able to come with your own juice. Yeah.
Deliverability, yes. Okay. So Jeremy, I have been assigned a new role to validate outbound marketing for my company. How long should I give it a go before I say, yes, this works, or no, it doesn't?
So, okay, this one, I'm going to have like a slightly different approach to like saying like 2 months, 2 weeks, whatever. It's like, think like Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Like, what's the future? Is the future outbound for your company? Then go on it, even if you're losing money until you actually, start making a lot of money. I think it depends on your CEO support or whoever is in your company support. Like, do they have that vision of outbound for future, or they just want to try the water? And that will be like completely different way of going after it. But I would say if you just want to tiptoe the water and then try it for 3 months, I would say. That will give you the chance of doing like 2-3 iterations and then see if it works with different verticals. What would you say?
I would think about, are your competitors using this as a hint? If they're not obviously doing inbound marketing seriously, that you should be able to see their ads. You should be able to spy on their latest things that they're putting out there. If they're not doing that, they're doing something else, and that something else is probably outbound. So consider how you want to compete. If you want to leave the cold emailing spoils to them, or if you want to get in on some of the action. But yeah, like,
I know it's a rapid fire, but can I actually, throw a black hat into it? Like, create a fake LinkedIn profile that looks exactly like, your target audience that your competitor will target, and just listen to the cold outreach that comes to it.
That's smart. That's black hat. That's cool.
Black hat.
Okay.
Well, great.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. So I like your 3 months thing, but let's look at the next question, because I'm going to modify stuff here. Same question. I got to validate outbound marketing for my company. What should I try first? Okay. So I don't think this is the right attitude. You can't just Google articles.
Sorry, boy. This is not the right attitude here.
Well, it implies that you have considered all of the avenues you can take, and you are selecting the most intelligent, least risky one. That's not going to happen after you Google for certain outbound marketing tips, or even you tune into this podcast. There's a good chance you're going to pick the wrong avenue, and you're going to say, hey guys, this stuff ain't working because you forgot to go after your hottest prospects first, or your VIPs that can introduce you to a lot more, or your common connections that are far more easier to reply. I mean, there's There's a lot of things you can get wrong in the beginning. So what should you try first? Either talk to someone who has cracked outbound marketing and ask them what worked and make sure that it's relevant to your audience, or you got to pony up some money to get someone to guide you. Or option C is take your time,
Agency.
figure it out in 12 months. Yeah, the agency is going to be more expensive than the consulting probably, but they'll do it for you. My point is, if you think you don't know what you should try first, you probably don't. So get some outside help in the beginning. It'll speed up things so quick for you, as opposed to trying stuff.
Agree. I would probably have a slightly different approach. Although I think your one is extremely valuable. I think I would say look at the uttermost closest profile than your current clients, and just contact them and say, hey, we closed, I don't know, we closed Mercedes when you're, contacting BMW, and you just ask like, is that worth for us to have a call? Like, this is the, the closest one, the fastest one you can do, and see if it works.
Yeah, I love that. The downside, you can have a small list, but the upside, you can have a small list. That's right. So you can really pay attention to that, especially in the beginning.
Anyway, it's not a cast. It's a rapid fire, Jack.
Let's go.
Losing it.
Next question. What should I consider when buying a cold outreach tool right now? I'm not going to touch this. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I would say it depends.
Maybe I'll touch it.
Well, okay, good. It depends on your needs, but definitely see what part of the funnel is taking you the most time, and then see if that tool can actually do it the best way. So for example, I'm going to obviously take QuickMail as an example, but if, for example, deliverability is super important for you, and this is something that you don't want to have a hassle with, like, get that tool and then another tool to sort of warming up and stuff like that, just get QuickMail and then that's it. But if you need like a lot of like lead generation and personalization directly, like finding the prospect into the same tool, they are better tools than QuickMail for that. So I say look at how your workflow needs to look like, and then look at the tool that will help you achieve that, instead of trying to find a tool and sort of retrofit your workflow into it.
So, right. So the question, what should I consider when buying cold outreach tool? It sounds like that person has never bought a cold outreach tool before.
Oh, good point.
And in that case, in that case, you probably aren't going to know what features you need to pay attention to and what features they're going to tell you that you should be looking for. So keep that in mind. You may want to do side-by-side comparisons. Just look at what features do they offer. Some of my obvious ones.
I don't like that, honestly.
Well, for example, a lot of tools won't let you turn on or off open tracking per touch.
Right.
And I think that's such a shame, right? I mean, there's some basic stuff. Today, you need an auto warmer. It is nice to have it all in one house, but at the end of the day, you just want to be following best practice. And Jeremy, I think what you said is spot on. Next. Okay. Is there any benefit to manually warming up an inbox compared to using an auto warmer?
I can take this one if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. So I personally believe not much. I don't believe that's the case. You may find differences potentially with Google itself, because Google can know if it actually comes from a sort of API or not. But there are so many things using the API. Actually, look at our episode about auto warmer, and I think it gives you like a good approach. But I would say I highly doubt there is. It could be, depends on your ASP provider. That's the full answer.
Cool. Yeah. Hey, that's great to hear, because manually is a pain. Next question.
Hell yeah.
Are the best subject lines always short, like 2 words or less? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I like short subject lines. And if you look at my copy, a lot of the times they're all lowercase subject lines. Why? It just feels like how I would send to a colleague, which is the tone that I'm,
I just something to strike my head or my mind, whatever is the expression. Like, look at the door. A subject line is a door that will tell you this is the door I should open or not. And then obviously if you have a long thing written on the door and you have only 5 seconds and 100 and 500 doors, you're gonna be very quick. So if there is 1 or 2 words on the door, it's very easy to see like, okay, I'm gonna try it, right, or not. So
Yeah.
it should be that ideally your title. It should be a title on the door that you can really read, like all big letters, like ideally 2-3 words maximum. And then you know
That's
this is a door for that type of things, right?
It's well said, but just before we close this out, my favorite subject line mixes in like direct, here's what you're going to see in a very concise thing, but it mixes in a little bit of curiosity so that there's intrigue, but it's not BS. It's not like pink window and then you open it and it's like about refrigerator sales. So, no, you like it should imply that there's something going on here that's direct, but then how would this person, that's what you want to elicit. And then that's
so you want a little bit of curiosity as well.
little bit.
But that could be done with a choice of word. It doesn't have to be done with a number of words.
Of course.
Yeah.
But if you can do it in 2 words, even better. All right. That's another cast. Check out our subject line episodes previous. Okay.
And
Jeremy,
futures.
there you go. Jeremy, when should I hire my first salesperson? When there's enough leads for them or before?
I don't know. Go for it. This one's on you, Jack.
Yeah. So just before there's enough leads for them. Why? Because if it's your first salesperson, they're going to be active in the lead gen process. So you don't want to, I mean, very rarely they're just going to be closers if it's really your first salesperson. Likely they're going to be wearing a lot of hats. They're probably doing some prospecting, definitely some outreach. And so for that, I think it's smart to bring them in while the process is getting ramped up. That way they know how you've been doing lead gen, how the company's been doing lead gen, and they can start to get their feet wet so that while you're training them, they're going to be learning the ropes on generating leads. And by the time you're ready to say, okay, now you can start selling this, they're at a point where they're contributing their own leads to the table. And thus they should be off and away with plenty leads. Some they're creating for themselves and others that the company's giving them.
All right, moving on.
Last question.
Already. Damn, we've been
last
fast.
but not least, this is rapid fire. I've run out of very good prospects to target. Should I circle back with them or just find slightly worse quality prospects to target instead?
Go and cry. I'll do both, honestly. I would say do both. Like there's no reason why not recontacting if they're really good targets. You know, sometimes it's timing. That's what cold email is about. Like you were mentioning to me, we were talking about something similar, like give them 6 months, 7 months, they won't even remember you. And then they just go again, right? And if they do remember, I think it's bonus point. It means like your first outreach was good. And so if you do a good job and you basically say like, hey, this year, this is what we've been doing, or this is how, you know, we're positioning this year or something like that, that may resonate with them. And so I would say do that. And at the same time, you know, just look at different verticals potentially.
Yeah, I think there's a certain point where a company grows into other verticals.
That's right.
Right. And you'll probably be able to grow into another one before you have to cry a whole lot. 2 tips if you're going to go back to prospects that you already contacted. Number 1, avoid sounding like a newsletter. They don't want updates like a traditional marketer would think, but you need to write it like a cold email. So forget the, hey, it's Joe from company. It's been a long time. Here's what's new. Link, video, image. Keep it very much to the cold email playbook. Benefit, call to action, get in, get out. And number 2, re-verify that list. Some of these people are going to have left. Scrub that list and rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Of course, quickmail.io is for you. Pink window. I appreciate the rapid fire. And yeah, Jeremy, thanks. I think we covered this with some speed today.
Awesome. Thanks for the cast. Thanks, Jack.
Bye.